Hey, you guys, it's me. It's Maureen Langan. Hanging with Langan, you are today. I just have to tell you, I did so much promotion for my guest today. I love him so much. His name is Tats Nkonzo, one of South Africa's biggest comedians. And whatever reason, he was having nightmare tech issues down in Johannesburg. So, it's with a heavy heart that I say we have to reschedule him. And he is a comedian, he's a musician, he does political commentary with his guitar. I'm telling you, it's magic. I love him so much because he has an artist soul. So I said to him, we have to have him back. I'll show you a picture of the man, and we will make this happen another time. Well, there he is. But this is me saying coming up soon, which really, and it says everything will be okay. But I don't know if everything, of course, everything will be okay. But he's a big shot, and yet the most down to earth fellow on the planet. So I will bring that to you, Tats Nkonzo, Nkonzo, another time. And I'm so sorry. This was one of the most excited shows that I've been looking forward to. So we will. But you know what's interesting? One of the things I learned when I was watching some of his clips, even though I've performed with him a number of times, I was ignorant to something called Youth Day. Do you know about Youth Day in South Africa? I did not know about Youth Day. I'm going to play a clip that was going to show if he were here. So this is not on a talk show in South Africa. And let me just tell you, he's made a song about Youth Day. It's a public holiday, a national holiday, and it commemorates police opening fire on school children who were protesting the language changes in the school system. He was going to explain it all to us. I know English and Afrikaans is the official languages then in 1976. I don't know what the situation is in schools now, but a lot of the Black students rebelled, and a 12-year-old kid named Hector Peterson was shot in the head and died. I know this is so heavy. And there was another man named Hastings, and I can't say his last name, Ndlovu. No, I can't say this stuff. Ndlovu. I want to be respectful, and I don't know how to say their names. But here, I'll show it to you. I think I put it in here. Well, there we are. They're the young kids' names, and they were shot in 1976. I know, hanging with Langan, it's a heavy topic, but we're going to get lighter in a minute, and then we're going to get heavy again. So here's one of the pictures of that poor Hector boy, that poor Hector boy being carried, and then his sister running next to him. So there were two who died that day in 1976, Hector being one of the two. Hector became the poster child, the symbol of those times. And it sounds like Hastings was relegated to the back pages of history. So Tats did this guitar piece. It's a commentary with humor, believe it or not, because comics know how to do that. And it talks about that day that I did not know about that commemorates Youth Day. Here we go.
This is Youth Day song. It's the time of year that we are remembering all what happened, remembering all the fallen heroes like Hector Peterson and Hector Peterson and Hector Peterson. Was anyone else shot to their death in 76? Well, the truth is that Hector is the Beyonce of the 76 thing, 'cause no one remembers or knows another student who was marching. But I wanna introduce you to another student who died for freedom but is forgotten like a Danny Kaye album. Hastings Ndlovu is his name, shot and killed in the uprising. Hastings Ndlovu, my comrade, we salute you here at Afternoon Express.
Woohoo!
Hastings Ndlovu, Google that.
Yeah, imagine, many people must go and find out more about what happened in those times to find out who those legends are.
And I did exactly that. I researched Hastings Ndlovu. And you know what it is? I love that Tats had an ability to take his music, and really it is a sarcastic, piercing piece about how only one person is remembered from those days being killed, but not the other teenager. But I didn't like how the host was cracking up so much. It's powerful. It's funny about Danny Kaye album, like he's relegated to history and forgotten. So anyway, that's my buddy. I hope you'll follow him at Tats Nkonzo. I will put up his name here. I hope he'll come back and get his tech difficulties worked out. I want to let you know, I do this like a real show. Like I was a broadcaster for years. I know I tell people that all the time because I do all this research and my heart's hurting that he's not here. Want to let you know, though, I have some gigs coming up. Yay, August 6th, Bedford Playhouse in Bedford, New York. I'm not Tatsunokun, so let me put these dates up here. So I have the Bedford Playhouse on August 6th in New York, and on August 7th, going back to Jersey, the Old York Cellars. Gorgeous place. You have to go there. It's in such a beautiful area. And Helene Angley runs that. It's going to be fantastic. Then I'm in Seabright, New Jersey, another Jersey gig. Woo, woo. And that's at the Surf Rider Beach Club on August 12th and August 18th, the Brokerage on Long Island. And then I'll be back there again in September. So I'm excited. So I want you, the freaks out there who won't wear your masks, I don't care. I get it. You don't want to. I understand you don't want to. I get it. But I want to work. And we're going to go sliding way back. And then I'm not going to be able to work. And a lot of people aren't going to be able to work. And then the government might help with their $300 a week. And then you're going to call us lazy. That's what you're going to do. You're going to call us lazy. I don't get, we were moving ahead. Everything's starting to open up. And now it's going backwards. I'm so enraged about that. So what else? A couple other things I wanted to talk to you about. Let me know if you guys are seeing this, because today was a lot of tech nightmare issues. And I want to know who is seeing this. So crazy. And yeah, there we go. Awesomeness. Okay, so I went to the Van Gogh experience yesterday, and can I tell you how much I hated it? I hated it. From the minute I walked in, everything's spinning right round like a record baby. I thought I had to have Dramamine. I felt so nauseated. I had to put my head down and close my eyes. Things are just spinning. They're taking his paintings and they're congealing them, and then they have like, it felt like a light show in the 1970s that I didn't go to, that kids in high school, I think they did mushrooms or LSD. I don't know what you do when you go to those things, but that's what it reminded me of, and I hated it. I couldn't stand it. I can't believe it. And it's only 35 minutes long. All it is this movement. See my painting behind me? Like it would be moving and spinning. I couldn't take it, but I stayed. It was only 35 minutes long. Has anybody seen? I want to know if you've seen the Van Gogh experience. It was a bad experience. And there's 3 rooms. So after the spinning right round like a record, I said, let me go into the other room. It's the exact same thing. So I said, okay, I'll go to the 3rd room. It's the exact same thing in every friggin' room. I couldn't escape it. And then you can sit on the floor and experience it. Big deal. It's a floor. Sit on the floor. This joint down at Pier 36 is selling little cushions that you sit on at football games. They're renting them. This is how exploitative this was. They were renting ass mats for people. Ass mats. And then you go to the gift shop. A little scarf is $80. They're selling a 150-piece little puzzle for I don't know how much money. It was every single thing you can imagine was manufactured. Who licensed Van Gogh? Who gets to license Van Gogh? That's what I want to know. Who got to license all his image and his name and put it on every single friggin' thing? The only thing I liked was the exit sign that wasn't part of the experience, and it was my experience, but it said no go, like you can't enter there, no go. That cracked me up. That, and then the other thing spinning around was the security guard's head going this, and that was funny. That cracked me up. So that's what stood out to me. And then on the way out, it's like, go for this yogurt, and it has some yogurt, and it's like GOGH, go for this yogurt. I'm like, what are they not marketing? It was such a racket. In the words of my friend Gordon, oh my God, Francois Gordon, my head is exploding today. So anyway, I just thought for $50, I want to save you $50. That's why I'm telling you about all this. For $50, just save yourself. I know there are people who like it. I found it, I was angry when I left. I really was angry. I thought, how do you do this to people? You charge them 50 was the low end. $50 was the low end. Then it went up, like if you want a free ass mat, if you want to, they'll let you use an ass mat to sit on the floor for the 35 minutes of the head exploding experience. And then if you want VIP tickets, I don't know what that does. It gets you the front of the line. Go at 10 o'clock. there's no line, and then don't go at all and there's no line. That's my advice. All right, one more thing I wanted to talk to you about. So disappointed that my friend Tats isn't here. We're going to reschedule. If those of you tuning in, because I promoted him being on the show so much, and he had tech difficulties in Johannesburg. So I told him to go to find a cafe, find a friend, find an IT guy. And he's a really so down to earth, but he's a freaking big shot in South Africa. That's not why I was having him on. I was having him on because we've worked together in Switzerland, of all places. Switzerland. I went to Switzerland. And nothing wrong with going to Switzerland, but there was a comedy festival in Montreux, and he was there. And we really bonded. All of us did. There was a core group, one from Russia, France, Egypt, two from the US, my buddy Orlando Baxter from Boston, Igor from Russia, I told you that, Alex from England, and Tats and Loiso from South Africa. Wonderful, wonderful time. But I wanted to talk to him, and we'll have him back, about what the comedy scene is like in South Africa. When I was there, it was effervescent. You're in Johannesburg, a place where when there was apartheid, Black people, people of color could not go there without a permit. I'm walking arm in arm with my comedy friends or the tech guy at the comedy club. We had it at big venues, small venues, intimate venues, musicians behind you. The whole thing was fantastic. And you would look out into the sea of people and see brown and black and white and mixed race and blonde bobs and wonderful afros. And people were so excited. There were just so many types of people and interracial couples. So I was blown away that the only way, I knew all this, but to hear it from people that you're hanging out with, having a drink with after a show, taking a hike with, that we could not have walked together a couple generations ago is mind-boggling to me. So I want to ask him what the scene is these days in South Africa, because I've been reading about more unrest and more issues. I want to talk about that, as well as some of the history that I learned just studying him, and just some fun stuff. He's on Temptation Island, not as a couple, but I don't know what his role is because his tech went out, so I couldn't ask him what his role on Temptation Island was or is, because it's a new season. Now I want to ask you if anybody watched the testimony of the cops on the January 6th commission. Did you watch that? I watched every single word because it was replayed on CNN last night, and I went for a walk and watched and listened to every single minute of it. Riveting. I was crying. Officer Henry Dunn, what a class act man. All of them. And then forgive me that I can't remember each one's name, but the man who is now an American citizen, not born in this country. I don't know where I know he's Spanish speaking. I'm not sure where he was born, but how he's dedicated his life to America and how they were treated. Just all four of them, the cop trapped in that door screaming, Fanon, that cop just hit and battered. And then these disgusting animals on Fox News, Carl Tucker rather, and Laura Ingraham, I almost don't even want to talk about it because then I give them credibility, which I don't want to do. They're not journalists. They're opinion people who took things so out of context and mocked. They mocked the police officers. They mocked them. It's just horrible. And what troubles me, I wasn't going to speak about it, but what troubles me is that there are people who only watch their source of information, because it's not news, from these circus clowns who are evil and harmful. They mocked them. And in the context of what these men were saying they were being battered and poles and their guns taken from them and their masks and then somebody trying to gouge their eye out. You're hearing all this and then they said that these rioters or insurrectionists, whatever you want to call them, they would even use a pen as a weapon if they could. So what does friggin' Laura Ingalls say? Oh, they were attacked with a pen. I'm paraphrasing. I thought, really? You're disgusting. But then I realized there were people who only watch that and they think that's what happened to the cops. That's what they think. And I don't know what to say. I don't want you can't have an opinion on this unless you watch every single word of those four officers who were traumatized and treated like human pieces of crap. You have no right. I won't hear your la 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 la. I won't hear what you have to say. You cannot get your sources from those opinion people, no matter whether you agree with those opinion people or you disagree with them. You have to get the source directly for yourself and then decide how you feel about that. Don't make me hate you. All right, I'm so sorry I don't have my guest for you today. I'm so sorry this happened, but we will have Tats Nukunzo come back. I'll go out on a clip about political correctness. I wanted to talk to him about that too. How does political correctness affect performance in South Africa? Does it affect it as it would perhaps here in America? Because you can't say anything. You can't say anything on the stage. It's gotten so friggin' bad. I'm telling you. I use the word fat. I think I shared this with you before. I use the word fat at a gig. Well, not a gig. I was doing my Daughter of a Garbage Man solo show, and some woman, a middle-aged woman about my age, came up to me after the show. It's an emotional show. It's a deep show. It's funny, and a lot funny, but a lot deep. She came up to me because I said my father is a blend of Archie Bunker, Fred Sanford, and Marlon Brando, the early years, not the fat years. So she corners me in the lobby after I just put my heart and soul on the floor, on the stage floor, and says, I don't like that you used the word fat. I go, really? That's what you just took away from that show, that I used the word fat? She said, well, my therapist said I should confront things that trigger me. I'm like, really? And you picked me? Really? She goes, well, I used to have eating issues. I'm like, well, who didn't? Get in line. She goes, well, it triggered me. I said, well, you've been binging and purging and puking on your own for decades. Now, all of a sudden, I'm the issue? How did that happen? You want to confront things, confront some cookies and crumb buns and cake. Leave me out of your nightmare, lady. This is what happens on stage now. I made a Trump joke, and some lady got up and said, F you, F you. And then she's wearing that he can grab me anytime t-shirt. I'm like, he doesn't want to grab you, lady. I can't say that she was fat because then you get in trouble. But I mean, she just was hideous as a person. You could just feel it. And all I asked is a simple question. I said, how much weight do I have to gain to go to a Trump rally? That's all I asked. But you can't be inquisitive. So this is what it's like. You see, you can't say fat. You can't make a Trump joke. The fat lady, she's not fat. She was so skinny. But the one who got triggered, she was in San Francisco, beyond left, like falling off a cliff left. And then you have the Trump lady way on the right. So you can't, what do you make jokes about? I do. I don't care. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. But it's insane out there. It's so insane. What else? This is what happens. Yeah. F you. He's my president. I don't like the word fat. And the thing that bothers me about the lady who got triggered with the word fat is she wants the world to adjust to her. That's what she wants. That's not going to happen. You got to deal in the world that sometimes you like, sometimes you don't like. You have to deal with that. When are the advertisers going to ditch Laura Ingraham and Tucker Carlson? You have to follow Laura Ingram's brother on Instagram. What's his first name? Let me see. I'm going to find that for you because he hates his sister. But it just cracks me up, the stuff that he posts. Let me see. I'm going to find it for you because he's so worth. I'm going to find, I forget his first name. Craig. I thought so. Craig, Craig Ingram. I wonder if he'd come on my show. That would be awesomeness. Yeah, he said she's always been a few fries short of a Happy Meal. I also, when Tats comes back, my friend with the tech problems, they all performed in New Trevor Noah. I want to know, Trevor Noah really broke through because he had a white father and a black mother. Very interesting backstory there. So Tats was going to share some of that. And I know that Noah's a big supporter of Tats. All right, you guys, here's a couple shows coming up. Let's see what we got here. Hiya, Molly. I know. I'll tell you about the gigs in a minute. I'll bring on Molly's comment in a minute. August 6th, Bedford Playhouse in Bedford, New York. So excited. August 7th, the Old York Cellars in New Jersey. You got to go. there. You got to go to all of these. New Jersey, Old York Cellars, gorgeous, gorgeous grounds, beautiful, have some wine. August 12th, my beloved Jersey Shore, woo, woo, Seabright. Where am I in Seabright? I'm at the Surf Rider Beach Club, Catch a Wave. And the Brokerage Comedy Club on Long Island. I love Long Island because they're all Irish, Jewish, and Italian. And their parents came from Brooklyn or the Bronx or Manhattan. And they're usually first generation or second, 1 foot in education, 1 foot in blue collar, which is, my world. So I love that. A lot of gigs coming up. So go to MaureenLangan.com. I just revamped the whole website. You need a corporate host, speaker, what have you. I do all that in addition to stand up. But just check it out. I'm going to update all the gigs tomorrow on Thursday. And you can see that. And when you follow me here, it'll be all over here too. So I want to take Molly's comment. I usually don't do a show without a guest because I love my guests. There we are. All right, Molly was the romper room lady, and she's my friend. She was the romper room lady. I love her. We met at Channel 9 in Secaucus, New Jersey, and she's a really good person. I got to find her comment. All right, so we were talking about, Molly says they are frightening people, and people believe them. And we're talking about Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham, who mocked the cops. They absolutely mocked, made fun of those 4 officers who protected the Capitol that day, who were abused and battered. And she took one little part of it, and they said that they were hit with poles and their masks pulled off and their eyes gouged. It was awful. And they said they would use anything that the rioters, insurrectionists, whatever you want to call them. I think they're insurrectionists. My friend's, a colleague of mine says that she would call them rioters. She says insurrectionists isn't really the appropriate word, but I think it is the appropriate word because had they succeeded, that would have been an insurrection. So if they wanted to overturn the government, that's an insurrection. A riot, I think a riot is not good, but like looting and fighting and, just this outbreak of angry people, but not trying to overturn the government. So I said, if it's a riot, we go with that. What happens if they had been successful with what they wanted to do on January 6th? That would have been an insurrection. Therefore, they're insurrectionists. But watching these beautiful 4 men speak so openly and with emotion and honesty. I watched the entire testimony to Molly, crying. It was so moving. It was honest. And then when they were talking about how they were attacked, or one of the officers' guns, the guy was trying to take his gun, and they're yelling, kill him or shoot him with his own gun. And he's saying, I have children. He has 4 daughters. And they were saying that the insurrectionists were using anything they could as a weapon, including a pen if they could. And that's what that human piece of crap Laura Ingraham used as, they're afraid of pens. And then Tucker Carlson laughed at them. He laughs at people. It's so evil. And you know what? I read that his mother left when he was very young. I would have left too. Maybe if he were a little more likable, she would have stayed. That's so hurtful, but that's how I feel. Follow Laura Ingraham's brother, Craig Ingraham, on Instagram. The guy is brilliant. Okay, so you guys, I will see you again soon. I will have another show for you. More guests coming up. I have great guests coming up. There's a woman in New York City who's a sanitation worker and a beauty pageant person. Is that what they call them? Beauty pageant people? I've invited her on. She said she would. I have the head of a senior dog rescue coming on. I have wine people coming on. I always try to give you everybody from academics to alcoholics. That's what Maureen Langan does, and everyone in between. What else do we have that I want to tell you about before I head out here? If you can, if you're so inclined, the show is all listener, viewer supported. Starting at $5 a month. If you go to Patreon, Molly's a wonderful supporter. If you go to patreon.com/Maureen Langan, you can get, starting at the $5 level, Carol Burnett, up to Dolly at 10, Phyllis at 25. You can go all the way up to Joan at 1,000. Everything in between. I'll give you a comedy show. broadcast coaching, virtual happy hour with other comics. So whatever you want, we'll make that happen. Not whatever you want. My pole dancing days are over. But patreon.com is how you do that, or Venmo and PayPal. Somebody made fun of me the other day. They're like, oh, your little commercials, they make me laugh. I'm like, all right, well, have they motivated you to do anything? It's a friend of mine. So that's Patreon. I do my own tech here. And that's PayPal and Venmo. Okay, so I'm going to get my friends back on the show. Tats from South Africa. Follow me at maureenlangen.com. You will see my brand new website. You need a corporate host, moderator, speaker at your next event. You can just message me at Facebook or at maureenlangen.com. Do it now. Don't wait. Oh, Molly, you're so sweet. Do it now. I have to put that up. Look at her. Isn't she beautiful? One of the biggest hearted people I know. The romper room. I call her the romper room lady. All right, you guys. Sorry that it didn't work out with my guest today, but I hope we had a good chat. A little bit of a good chat. All right. Until we meet again, which will be very soon. Bye, wig.